Hi, this is Garett Muller of Air Rifle Evolution South Africa. My business partner and I, Henry, we sometimes go to different shoots, and other times we just load a couple of guns in the boot of the car. We drive to holiday resorts and let the kids shoot a little in order to get them to be interested in air rifling and not sit in the house the whole day on a cell phone. But you realize very quickly that in South Africa, there is a lot of misinformation regarding air rifles. The air rifle that a lot of people think about when we talk about air rifles is this one. In South Africa, it's called a breakneck or a Springer. A lot of guys grew up with this most probably. So how does a Springer or a breakneck work? In South Africa, it's called a breakneck. So what you do is you grab the barrel, you pull it down all the way, you put a pellet in there, you close it. I'm just going to decock this. All right, thank you. Close it, and you're ready to shoot. Inside here is quite a powerful spring and a piston. So when you cock the rifle, the spring, the piston gets forced back against the spring. When you pull the trigger, the spring is forced forward. It collects all the air that is in this cylinder. When it gets to the front, it pushes all that high pressure air through a very small hole into the barrel behind the pellet, and the pellet shoots out at the other end. There are unfortunately some negatives to this gun because it has such a heavy mechanism on the inside of the gun. It is what we call hold sensitive. In other words, if I take my first shot, shoot, break the barrel, load again, but I move my front grip a little bit, my point of aim is going to change because this piston that moves up and down affects how I hold the gun. So this gun is quite accurate, but it takes a lot of practice to be able to shoot very well with a Springer. The second big disadvantage is most of the scopes available is designed for centerfire firearms. So in other words, it can handle recoil in that direction. But a Springer has two recoils. When you pull the trigger and that spring releases its energy, you've got the normal recoil into your shoulder in that direction. But when the piston hits the front of the cylinder, you've got a second recoil because the gun moves in that direction then. Every action, there's a reaction. And a lot of scopes cannot handle that second recoil of a Springer. So if you're putting a scope on your Springer, please make sure that it is rated for an air rifle. The positive of this gun is you take your tin of pellets, you go into the field, and you go and shoot the whole day long. You don't need anything else but this gun and a strong arm in order to have fun the whole day. Things have changed. They have replaced the spring with something they call a gas ram. So when you break the barrel, you don't compress a spring, you compress a cylinder with an expandable gas called nitrous in there. And when you pull the trigger, it's not the spring that causes the piston to move forward, it's the gas that expands. Another big thing that they have changed nowadays with these kind of rifles is they've made them multi-shots. Some rifle manufacturers have a system over here that loads a pellet every time you cock your gun. Some of them have a side lever over here, and then they have a magazine at the back here. So there are positives and there are negatives. The next gun I want to talk about is what we call a PCP, a pre-charged pneumatic air rifle. You might have seen this in one of my videos. So all air rifles work on compressed air. The big difference is this one now has a cylinder with compressed air in it. So how this works, you cock the gun, different ways, either a bolt handle or a cocking lever. And then when you release it, there's a hammer in here. The hammer jumps forward and it hits a valve, and the valve stays open for X amount of time, allowing X amount of high pressure air from this cylinder to move into the barrel, shoots the pellet out. Advantages is obviously because you don't have that heavy mechanism, It is easier to shoot these guns very accurately because it doesn't have a recoil, or it has a very, very, very soft recoil. This is also a nice way to get people interested in air gunning. The disadvantage of this gun is this is not a functionable unit by itself. You want to go out, your tinner pellets the whole day, you need to have a way to charge this high pressure cylinder. This particular gun will get you about 25 to 30 shots. There are guns out there that they can go up to 100 shots on one charge of high pressure. But you will have to recharge your gun somehow. The most popular way is to use a dive cylinder or a high pressure carbon fiber bottle, but that costs more money. With a Springer, that is a self-contained unit. You need a strong arm on your pellets. This, you need a way to pressurize this. Another way you can pressurize this is you can buy yourself a manual hill pump. Remember, these guns run on 200, 300, and even higher bar pressure. So if you're willing to put in the effort and a little sweat to get this pumped to the 200 bar, you're more than welcome to do so. But keep in mind, you have to buy the gun. These guns are more expensive than the Springers. A Springer in South Africa will cost you anything from 1,500 Rand to about 8,000-9,000 Rand. These guns start off at about 3,000 Rand and end at 75,000 Rand. Now you have to add a dive cylinder in order to pressurize this. You have to add to the dive cylinder a filling station, a filling station in order to get the air from the dive cylinder into this chamber. The upside of that is once you've got your way to pressurize your gun and you've got a filling station, no matter what PCP you have, you can charge it, so then the costs drop. Some of you might be sitting there and shouting, but Garett, there was something before PCP rifles, and you're right. Those were known as CO2 rifles. It is something similar to this, but the pressure comes from a CO2 bottle like this. This is the big bottle, smaller bottles of 12 gram. Now this gun is called the PR900 of Artemis. There is a PR700 where this is hollow and you put 2 of those silver canisters in there and you can go out and you start shooting the whole day. Once the pressure in here is too low to continue shooting, you unscrew the front, you take those 2 cylinders out, you put 2 more cylinders in, and you screw it back in and it charges again, you're ready to shoot. The only disadvantage of that gun is it doesn't create the high velocities obtainable from a PCP. Garett, I now have to make up my mind. What am I going to buy? Am I going to buy a PCP and a dive bottle and a charging station? Or am I going to buy a gas rammed gun like this because this is a unit by themselves? Or am I going to buy myself a CO2 gun? I don't know. You need to decide what you want to do with a gun, and that will determine what you're going to buy. You have to determine how much money you want to spend. That will also determine how much you want to buy or pay for the guns. So I wish to see you on a gun range some other time. I would love to have a chat to you at the bottom here. If you agree, disagree, please let me know. Give me some comments. But guys, get out there, enjoy the sunshine in South Africa. See you at a gun range. Be safe at all times. God bless. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.